Let's ride! Steel City Renegades lead the way. Listen up, now they got a lot to say. Dynamite Dave, Timber and D's Renegades bringing it if you please. Turn it up, hear the whole world say, whoa! Steel City Renegades, black and gold, the legends never fade. Whoa! Turn it loud, let it play. Renegades rule the airwaves. From the Steel City we rise and say, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to another episode of Steel City Renegades. You are joining us here on May 10th, Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Make sure you're taking your mom out to breakfast, buying her some flowers, whatever. She deserves it. She's put up with us guys and girls for her whole life. So make sure that you take care of mom. Also, before we start the show, I want to give a big shout out to the official sponsor of the Redline Network and Redline Radio LLC. That is Outlaw Light Beer. You can find tall boy cans of Outlaw Light at Sheetz, 12 packs and 30 packs at Walmart, and select discount drug marts. When you go grab some Outlaw Light beer, be sure to drop a photo of you and Outlaw Light and tag Redline Network Outlaw Beer for your chance to win a free 12-pack of Outlaw Light. Maybe we can get some Aaron Rodgers news, but as always, one of my co-hosts joining me. Deez, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Yeah, just to echo what you said there, happy Mother's Day to everybody. And for all the single dads out there doing both jobs, fuck you. We'll see you in June. This is for the moms.
Yeah. Wait till June to get your
I get so irritated with that. Well, what about me? I'm doing both jobs. Go fuck yourself. You each got your own day.
Yeah. And also, too, if you guys are not finding us on the Redline Network page, I don't know, StreamYard just sent me something that said there was a connection error with Facebook or something over there. So if you guys want to hop over to our Steel City Renegades page or our Redline Radio page, we are live there, and we are live on YouTube, I do believe. But make sure you guys always share the show and join us here each and every Sunday from here on out with Steel City Renegades. Chipper will be joining us, I think, next week. I know he had to take some time off or something. I think he had some golfing or something to do. But anyway, let's get into it. Rookie minicap in the books. D's, any news coming out of there that you want to touch on?
Yeah, there's actually been quite a few tidbits. I spent the better part of yesterday afternoon, did the Mother's Day thing yesterday with Mom, took her out to Outback Steakhouse. Had the single most annoying waiter I think I've ever had. Maybe we'll save that for unscripted, but holy shit, was that guy getting on our nerves. Anyway, but when I wasn't doing that, I was basically all over YouTube and Twitter and everything, basically gathering every little nugget of information from all of the beat writers and mom and pop YouTube shows like ours that are lucky enough to get credentials. So yeah, I did pick up some good things there. First and foremost, Now, granted, take everything that I'm about to tell you with a grain of salt. If you have not read up on the news, this is rookie mini camp. There's some vets there, but by vets, it's basically second and third year players, typically the max. But
What's up, Matt?
some
How you doing?
things that
Watching.
that we can look at and maybe get a glimpse of what the Steelers' plan is. Jennings Dunker was primarily playing reps at left guard, and Max Hanachor was primarily playing reps at right tackle. So does that mean they're going to move Troy Fautano over? Not necessarily, but it might be the formula that they're leaning towards. Jennings Dunker, obviously, probably more. I wouldn't call him a project, but he's coming in behind the eight ball. Spencer Anderson's penciled in, but Dunker has the attitude and everything, and he's already super popular in Pittsburgh. So I think he's really going to push Spencer Anderson. Other thing, the only quarterback in the entire mini camp, which I believe they had a total of 50 people, including 12 unsigned rookies there for tryouts. But the only quarterback that they had in-house was Drew Aller, so he got all of the reps, and by all accounts looked solid, very, as advertised, very strong arm. They seem to say that there's already a timing connection with Jeremy Bernard, which is awesome. Gabe Rubio, the guy everybody basically said, what, huh? They're saying they might have something with him, that he's very strong, nasty, and that with some development, maybe a little bit of time on the practice squad, that he could develop into the nose tackle, the true nose tackle type that we've kind of been missing basically since Casey Hampton left.
Yeah, Deez. I'm the more you talk about Dunker, the more and more I'm liking this kid. I seen an interview with him this morning, and the kid is comical. He's funny. I mean, even if
I'm telling you, if he cracks the starting lineup and doesn't just completely shit the bed, like if he's not Dan Moore bad, sorry Dan, but you were terrible. He's gonna be an icon in Pittsburgh. We spent over a decade seeing Steeler fans in the stands wearing long black curly wigs, because of Troy Polamalu. I'm telling you what, if Jennings Dunker cracks a starting lineup and is that mean, nasty, road grader type that they drafted him to be, you're going to see a stadium full of red mullet wigs.
Well, they're already talking about him with all the shirts they got out because he was laughing about him. I don't know if you watched that press conference right after his practice or whatever, his OTAs, rookie minicamp, but they were talking about Dunker Donuts or something like that. And he's like, yeah, cool. He's like, yeah, cool. Give me one of them shirts. I'll wear it. He goes, I'll support whatever. But he's just down to earth, man. He's like, Iowa. He goes, it's kind of, Pittsburgh's kind of different. He goes, I love the city. It's real pretty. He goes, you got mountains and stuff here. And he goes, I want to jump in a lake, but they told me that I can't do it.
Yeah, they told me I can't swim in the river.
Yeah. So he I guess him and Hanachor, how do you pronounce his last name?
Hanachor, you got it.
Hanachor. I guess they're going to go fishing, and he said the first fish he catches in Pittsburgh that he's going to kiss it. And then they asked Dunker. They said, "Well, what are you going to do?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to take it home and I'm going to skin it and I'm going to eat it." He goes, "That's what I'm going to do." He goes, "I like to go fishing." So
he did say he wouldn't eat it if it was catfish, though.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I think catfish is a good fish.
Yeah, although, catfish is real good.
From my understanding, as far as Pittsburgh goes, you don't want to catch it out of the Monongahela because that's where the industry still, pollutes, I guess, for lack of a better word. Nowhere near the scale that it used to. But the Allegheny side is the clean side. But anyway, but yeah, that kid is, man, I hope he works out because he has superstar. If you can call a offensive lineman a superstar, which it doesn't happen often, but he seems to have the look and personality that if he works out, that he is going to be a Pittsburgh icon. And I really hope it does because I think it's going to be good.
Well, Deej, you not to mean to cut you off. You know what else I noticed from this practice and watching some film and some videos? Big Mike is out there talking to the offensive line and talking to Aller, and you did not see that with Mike Tomlin. You did not
Well,
see that.
no, he's not an offensive coach, but
No,
I
I
liked
know.
what I saw, and I like what I'm hearing from guys like DK and Chris Halleck, who were there watching for as long as they were allowed to watch anyway. That it seems like McCarthy basically is breaking him down and coaching him up as if he never played the position before, and working his mechanics and everything, and that's what I like to hear, because Drew Aller has all of the tools to be a megastar quarterback. He needs to rework his feet a little bit and basically start from the ground up. A lot of people were down on the Drew Aller pick, but you got to remember there's a guy named Josh Allen who came into the league same way, had all the tools, but just absolutely sucked for the first year and a half of his career, and then things started to click. Let's hope that the same thing happens with Drew Aller. I don't want to have to draft a quarterback next year. I want an answer, or at least a direction by the end of this, camp, if both guys stay healthy. And Chipper's not here to defend him, and I'm sorry for that. But the more I've been thinking about this, like the Will Howard situation, all offseason we've been hearing that, oh, they love Will. They love Will. If they really loved Will as much as we've been led to believe, I refuse to believe we would have blown the number 76 pick on Drew Aller. I'm sorry. I don't think that's the case. I think that we would have maybe taken a roll of the dice on the kid from Arkansas, or the or the kid from, was it North Dakota or South Dakota?
Back or not back.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, Peyton.
Yeah, Cole Payton or whatever his name is. So, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is just me from the outside looking in, thinking, maybe it's not what we have been led to believe of Will Howard. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Will Howard. I love his attitude. I like that he's embraced the city, and I would love nothing more for him to come into camp and prove everybody wrong and some people right, that he is the guy. I do dread the two camps fighting for the next 3 or 4 years, that being the Will Howard guys and the Drew Aller guys. I want to see one of them really just grab the job at one point or another, and then, hell, hopefully they're both pretty solid, and maybe we can turn it into some draft capital. But
see, these, like, I'm on the Will Howard train because he played at Ohio State and he had some good receivers, and he played really well there his senior year, and he transferred over, and he really didn't have any weapons at where he was at, and he came over to Ohio State. He had whatever he wanted over there. He had
first round receivers,
receivers
and running backs.
Yeah, I mean, he did. But here's the thing. You have that now in Pittsburgh. All I'm asking for him to have a chance and let the best man win. If it's Aller, I'm cool with Aller. I'm not mad at was I mad at the pick when they drafted him? A little bit, because again, I'm a Will Howard fan and I want to see him get a chance to prove himself, because last year he didn't get that chance. He missed that opportunity because he was injured. He didn't get a lot of reps with the first team. I think they said that he got like 3 reps towards the end of the season with the first team, and it was when Rodgers was hurt. What game was that? That was against Chicago, right? Yeah. So that's the only time he was the second string quarterback, and he got reps that week. And it's just, to me, I just want the best quarterback is going to get us winning or put us in the best winning position. If it's Rodgers, which he is in town, we'll touch on that. Whether it's Aller, whether it's Howard, we know Mason's probably not going to be here. So if it's one of them 3, I don't think Aller's ready yet. Do I think Howard's ready yet? I don't know, because we haven't seen anything from him.
No, but see, here's the thing. Yes, you're right in that Howard did not have a lot of first team reps. However, he did have a entire season of scout team reps. He played, like, they saw him as a quarterback. Granted, he was emulating whoever, but they still saw him as a quarterback, as far as his mechanics, throwing the ball, timing, things like that. So maybe they saw something that said, hey, we better go ahead and grab a guy. I don't know. I'm just as excited as all the Ohio State people that because I do like Will Howard genuinely as a person. So I want to see him get on the field. And if Aaron is there, which look, he's going to be there again. We'll get to that in a little bit. Aaron's not going to play in the preseason. I'll be shocked if Aaron, plays more than a series, if anything. So I'd like to think that we're going to get a heavy dose of both of the kids and then a little bit of Mason sprinkled in there, because they're going to want Mason to get in there and get a little bit of screen time, so to speak, because I think what they're going to end up trying to do is moving Mason as long as the other two guys show that they're making progress. There is a scenario, and Mark Caboli even alluded to this, that if they get into camp with the four guys and, Mason is Mason, who is, regardless of what we or anybody else, thinks of him, he's still one of the better backups in the NFL. You cannot deny that.
Yep. I agree with that.
If Will Howard comes in as a 6th round pick and basically an unknown because he didn't really do anything last year, but if he comes in and doesn't look good in camp and has a couple of poor performances in exhibition preseason games, he could get cut. That is a legit thing that, the Steelers might not be comfortable letting Mason go and turning the backup job, because let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a 43-year-old quarterback who has been, a little bit banged up as his career is coming down. He only missed one game last year, but it's, his wrist was definitely bothering him. It wasn't his throwing wrist, so it's not, that. But if Will Howard doesn't solidify the fact that he can be an NFL quarterback, he could be the odd man out.
Yeah, I heard that too, Deez, and all I want Will to do is just go in there and be you and play you and try to win this backup job or be on this roster or whatever, and show them that when they drafted you in the 6th round, that's not where you really were supposed to be drafted. Because like McCarthy said, if he was here last year, he would have drafted him in the 3rd round. So they got to think high of him if he's saying that. Maybe that's just a smoke screen. And like you said, maybe because it's not his quarterback that he drafted, he don't want him. Maybe that's it. Because we all know whenever new coaches come into situations, they bring in people who they're comfortable with and who their quarterback is. Look at when he came here from Dallas. Look at all the coaches he's had in Dallas. He had Brock Hoffman with him in Dallas. He's also had Rico Dowdle in Dallas. He's had players in Green Bay with him, special teams people in Green Bay, people who's been linked to that. So I'm okay with that. I just want the best man out of Drew Aller and Will Howard to either be our starter or our backup moving forward. Because if they both go in and they have phenomenal preseasons and camp, then you have to look at Mason and say, hey, we're going to trade you. They're not going to release him because he's still under contract. They're going to get a pick for him, either maybe a 6th or a 5th or a 6th, and there's going to be a team needy.
6 or 7 is probably going to be the max for Mason, which still it's something.
Yeah, but we know Mason's one of the best backups in the league. Can you tuck him away and put him on the practice squad?
No.
I don't know if he's eligible for that. I don't know how that works, but if he doesn't win the job, Mason's a pro. He'll go wherever he goes and he'll learn the playbook and he'll be all right. He'll sign a 1-year deal there, and maybe Pittsburgh picks him back up next year. You never know. You don't know, because
I don't think Mason, given what he's gone through in this city, which, let's be honest, he's probably gotten a raw deal more than once in Pittsburgh.
He has.
But if they tell him, look, okay, we can't work a trade, we're going to cut you, and then we want you on the practice squad, Mason's going to tell him to get fucked. Like that's just not going to happen. Very worst case scenario, somebody will sign him as a free agent for their 3rd, potentially 2nd round pick or 2nd string quarterback. But let's hope that we can get a trade. The 2 things that are 100% going to be on this team if Aaron signs, which again, I don't think that's a question. And that is that Aaron and Drew are going to be on this football team. Mason or Will those are your wild cards. One of those guys is going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. And as us, the Steelers fans, whoever you're pulling for, you're going to have to live with that. I mean, because they see them every day. We don't. We're just fans talking about Steelers football and our opinions. And my opinion is I would love to see Will Howard get his opportunity, and I hope he does. I hope he comes to camp and he's good. And I hope he's worth the hype. He talks it. He's conducting himself like a pro. He wasn't mad. I haven't heard any comments of anything about the Steelers, him being pissed off the day they drafted Aller. So don't know. Let's just let Cam start and go on from there.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would hope that it's going to light a fire under both the young guys, being Howard and Aller, and let them battle it out. Obviously, I don't think Aller is going to be ready to really do anything this year. So if Aaron goes down, it's more than likely going to be whichever guy survives.
Donnie is such a hater for Rodgers. He is such a hater.
You can hope in one hand and shit in the other, and tell me which one feels fastest, because he's going to be there. And look, whether you like him or not, the best option if you want to win football games is Aaron Rodgers. Period. Point blank. End of fucking story. Aaron Rodgers, even at 43 years old, is still a top 5 arm in the NFL.
And what people don't realize is, Deez, I think me and you had this conversation. He's still a top 15 quarterback in the league. Go look at his stats from last year. He was the 15th best quarterback in the league with the receivers that he had. Now, I'm not saying this, people don't come out and come at me in all angles. If Rodgers comes back, which he probably is, with this weaponry he has on offense, he could potentially be a top 10 quarterback this year in the league. Potentially.
I was just going to say that. Like, everybody's down on Rodgers. Like, well, you didn't make a huge difference last year. He had one receiver, and then he had a midget, Calvin Austin, who occasionally made plays. But like that was one of the worst total package receiver rooms in the NFL, even with a healthy DK. The guys, like, the drop off from DK to the next guy was so unbelievably large. And that's gone. Like, we've got a 1A and a 1B in Pittman and DK. Jeremy Bernard is the truth. He is going to be a good receiver in the NFL. He's going to be a solid number 3 this year, and I think he's got a future as a potential 1 or 2. Roman Wilson, who knows? Weejan's going to be just a returner. You got Skoranek.
Well, speaking of Roman Wilson, did you see? I know that this really doesn't matter, but he changed his number back to what he was his good years at Michigan. He's number 14 now.
Was he? I knew he was number 1 his final year. I didn't realize he was 14 prior to that.
Yeah, he was 14, and he said he wanted to leave 10 in the dust because it really didn't do anything for him, and he doesn't want to remember that part of his NFL career. So he wanted a fresh start with the new coaching staff. So he changed his number to 14.
Does he understand the history of wide receivers wearing number 14 in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Hopefully that's like 11. 11 is a bad number too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we had some good times with George Pickens, but he was a head case. And then the previous number 14 that left a really bad taste in Steeler fans' mouths was Limas Swede. So, but either way, look, Roman Wilson is talented. I really think that he was under a really bad offensive system with a really bad offensive coaching staff. For whatever reason, him and Aaron just didn't click, and maybe that'll change this year. I would love nothing more for Roman to give us all a big shit sandwich to eat and solidify his spot as the number 4 guy, but we'll see. But in any event, back to the original point. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, if he can stay healthy, and by all accounts, this should be an improved offensive line, definitely a better offensive coaching staff and system, and a wide receiver room. I'm sorry, I keep seeing all these pundits saying this ain't a Super Bowl team. This ain't a Super Bowl team. No, probably not. But anything can happen in the NFL. You get a couple guys that go down to injury on one of those teams, if a Josh Allen goes down or Mahomes or Lamar, and the path becomes a little bit clearer, the talent on this team, both offensively and defensively, could go on a run. And Aaron Rodgers is good enough to take them there with, again, I can't say this enough, a healthy squad. Do I think that they're going to be a Super Bowl team? No, probably not. Do I think they can win, 11 or 12 games? Absolutely. And once you get to the playoffs, who knows? Now, again, health. I'll scream it every week, all day long. But Aaron's the best as far as the options that we have available. And he's the best option that we had available back in March, because I did not want them to give $35 million to Malik Willis, who's got, basically 2 solid starts under his belt and then some really shaky work in Tennessee. Maybe Willis will prove us all wrong. I don't think so, because he's in Miami. Miami is in full rebuild mode. So that we won't know if that's going to pay off for quite a while. But
speaking of Malik Willis, did you see him throw out the first pitch for the Marlins game and he way overthrew it and they were criticizing him for that?
Yeah, but go back and watch Patrick Mahomes throw the opening pitch when he did it, and he did the same thing. He threw it so far outside that it was damn near off camera. Like that's a different animal. Maybe Malik Willis will be a stud. I wanted him over Kenny Pickett back in the day, but at the end of the day, for our budget and for what was available, Aaron Rodgers was the best option, and he continues to be the best option of the potential starting quarterbacks that we could have on week 1 this year. He's still, like I said, his arm talent is still elite. His, the brain still elite. The legs, not quite so much, but as long as he can not have to get rid of the ball in 2 seconds or less, we've got a shot.
And for all of you people out there that want to know things about Aaron Rodgers, I'm scrolling Twitter here. So Aaron's been in town since Thursday night, early Friday morning, and he's purposely stayed away from the facility for one reason only, because he doesn't want the focus on him. He wants to focus on the coaching staff to work with the rookies and get that taken care of. Knew that today was the day that they would be free. So they're, from all reports on Twitter, they're saying they're supposed to be meeting today. Rodgers and the Steelers, or his agent, is supposed to be meeting today with the Steelers. I heard that it's anywhere from $17 to $22 million are going to offer him. Deez, are you okay with
possible that has been the case, because Aaron Rodgers is a diva and an attention whore and is me first and a horrible teammate. It's not possible that he wanted to stay out of the spotlight. I mean, that's just ludicrous. Oh, I'm so sick of these fucking people with this. Look, is Aaron Rodgers a perfect human being and, make everything easy? No. I wish Aaron would just fucking come out and say it. But all of these reports that we've been going through week after week, month after month, well, sources say Aaron Rodgers, sources say Aaron Rodgers doesn't fucking talk to anybody. So unless it's Aaron Rodgers in front of the camera talking, I ain't buying it. We've had people come out and say, well, Aaron wants 30 million. No, the fuck he doesn't. It's unbelievable the amount of shit that people will make up. They talk more about Aaron Rodgers, who has literally not appeared on television except for the one time he went on Pat McAfee, and he didn't even really talk football. But he's been more of a story than Mike Vrabel fucking Diana Rossini for the last 6 years. Like, most of the big major sports outlets aren't even covering that. Instead, they want to make up bullshit about Aaron Rodgers and talk about how he's such a bad teammate. Well, Cam Hayward, who is like Mr. Pittsburgh and has been for several years, loves Aaron Rodgers, says he's one of the best teammates he's ever had. Suck a dick, Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers is not the bad guy here. It's all of you idiots who sit there and watch mainstream bullshit media saying that this guy's a diva, when a diva was Terrell Owens. A diva was Chad Johnson. They're in front of the camera. They're look at me. George Pickens. Yeah, look at me, talk to me. I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. Aaron Rodgers ain't that. Is he perfect? Is he, he doesn't fit your criteria because he's not being, hey, well, this is what I'm going to do. Granted, I wish he would be a little bit more of that, but stop talking about the guy if you don't know. And that's what this in the last year and a half has been, is people just making shit up.
Yeah, and that's the funny part, because Aaron has said it himself. Like, he's joked about it. He's like, you in the media make me look so bad, and I don't even talk to anybody. I stay off the radar, and that's funny, because when he was on McAfee, you actually get to see his personality. And now that he's in Pittsburgh, you watch some of his interviews from last year where he's joking around with the players. He bought the whole offensive lineman. He bought them what was it, side by sides for for the season. So go back and watch that stuff. He's a very personal guy, but he's private. Like, if he doesn't want to talk to you, he's not going to talk to you. He's only going to give you the information that he wants to tell you. He's not going to give you what everybody else is out there talking about. He could care less what you think of him. He could care. He's a football mind through and through. And for you people out there that don't like Rodgers, listen, when he was in Green Bay and in the Jets, I'm like, come on, Aaron, like, I thought for a few that he was an asshole, but now that he's in Pittsburgh, I realize what it takes, because this is a big franchise. I mean, he's played with three of the biggest franchises in sports in the NFL, and people don't get that, especially with the New York media. And he said one of the things that he regretted is not signing with the Steelers the year before that, because they had conversations. He didn't want to go to the Jets, but he looked at it as winning football games, and he can go get Devontae Adams, and that was one of the things that he talked about. So for you people out there who say that Aaron is a diva, he's not. You guys are portraying him as a diva. Do I want him as a 43-year-old quarterback? No, but I know that's the best scenario that we're going to have to win football games. Like D said, we could win 10 games. We could win 11 or 12. It all depends. But we have to realize that this roster that's constructed right now and this coaching staff is better than what we had last year. If we can get one or two more wins, then we're good. If Aaron Rodgers leads the Steelers to the Super Bowl, if he does, I'm not saying he's going to, if he does, all you people who are Rodger haters, I want to see you guys eat crow and say that you were wrong about Rodgers, because Aaron is a good quarterback. His arm is still healthy, and he's got a great mind. Look at his releases from last year. Even when he played with a hurt wrist, he was still out there slinging the ball and doing things that was vintage Rodgers. Again, look at the receiving core he had last year. He had 28 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, and passed for 3,300 yards. He was 15th best in the league, statistical-wise, in the league. He deserves to have the money that's going to be given to him. Whether I'm hearing it's 17 to 22 million for 1 year. That's what I'm hearing. I
think that's probably in the range. Everybody's talking about the UFA tag that they put on him, which says, basically 15 million. But I think it's probably going to be closer to 20 with some incentives, 2022, somewhere in there. It's not going to be the 30 million that Mike Florio and Charlie Batch have been saying. That, Aaron has made almost $500 million in his career.
Injury prone. He missed one game last year in his Achilles. I mean, what was it? 2 years ago, he played one game.
Yeah, he had a broken collarbone in Green Bay, and then the torn Achilles. But by and large, he's been pretty tough. He wanted to play in that game against Chicago. The coaches would not. Tomlin would not let him play. It isn't that he was a pussy and couldn't go. He wanted to play, and Tomlin said no. So yeah, I don't buy into the injury prone thing. It's just not true. Alex Highsmith, that motherfucker's injury prone, but and he's going to be 43. That's a possibility, but we have backup quarterbacks for that. At the end of the day, for the entire length of the season, he's the best option. If he goes down, then we better hope like hell that Will Howard is ready to be number 2. And if Will's not there, then we got Mason. But point being, of the quarterbacks available, unless you just throw 2 or 3 firsts at a team to bring in a franchise guy, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers has been the best option for the Steelers since the season ended last year. Period. Point blank. End of fucking story.
And we'll beat that horse. We'll beat that horse with these people who are not on the Rodgers bandwagon. And I get it. I understand. But listen, Deez said it and I said it. You want to win football games? Yes. Do you want to have a high draft pick? Yes. You can't please everybody. You're not going to please everybody. You're going to buy them tickets and go to the game and cheer for Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers this year coming up. That's
absolutely.
A fact.
It is what it is. He is, I would say, 99.9% going to be our quarterback week 1. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, there's of the quarterbacks on our roster. And look, well, not even that, but because it's preseason. And even if Will Howard comes in and just lights it up, guess what? I still want Aaron Rodgers starting week 1 because Aaron Rodgers has the pedigree. And it's preseason. Now, if he goes down and Will Howard comes in and continues to light it up, then we got a whole different story. But the way that it goes, give me Aaron Rodgers. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback who still has an elite arm and an elite brain. I'll take my chances. That's just the way it's going to be.
So real quick, the Steelers wide receiver room looks like this. Deez, you tell me how good this looks on paper. DK Metcalf, you're cool with him?
Yeah. As long as he stays out of the fucking stands.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Michael Pittman is wide out number 1. He's going to be the guy that, makes the really tough catches, because as great as DK is not known as a combat catch kind of guy, whereas Michael Pittman is. So, yeah.
Jeremy Bernard.
Love it.
Roman Wilson.
Jury's out, but the potential is there. I watched him in college.
Caden Wheatgen.
Don't really see him getting on the field a whole lot, especially this year. But I look, if he can be even close to the dynamic returner that he was in college, I'm for it.
A.T. Perry, who they signed from Green Bay, who Rodgers really likes.
Might be a practice squad guy because Skoranek is definitely going to have a helmet on Sundays.
Yeah, Benny Sco, I forgot about him. Benny Sco, we know that Rodgers likes him. He's not going anywhere. Brandon Johnson, who's been with this team multiple times and had a good, solid couple catches. I think it was 2 years ago against Indy, the sideline catch where he had like that 15-yard catch and then like an 11-yard catch back-to-back. So
likely a practice squad guy, but again, somebody who's been around and is comfortable with the people, although the coaching staff is new, but at least he's got a year with Aaron. So I definitely could see him sticking on the practice squad and plug in if somebody goes down.
Max Hurlerman, don't know nothing about him. Cole Burgess and Brandon Smith. That's who the Steelers currently have on their roster right now.
Hurlerman is the guy that lit it up last year in preseason. I believe he was number 43. Had a great camp. I think he was on the practice squad most of the year. Very versatile. He's actually kind of a lot like a Heidenreich in that while he didn't really play running back, he was one that could go inside, outside, real shifty. He's a guy that you could call up from the squad and play on Sunday, and he'd go out there and give you his best. So I'm not mad at that. It's head and shoulders above where we were last year with this receiver room. We were pounding our fists on the table for the last 2 years trying to get a wide receiver number 2, and nobody, stepped up and took the role. And we went out and got one, and we got a wide receiver 3. So we're in a much better position in that wide receiver room going into this season than we've been in the last several seasons.
Absolutely we are. And I mean, I'm excited to see what this new coaching staff does and how they manage, the Rodgers situation and how they figure out who's going to make this roster, because there's only 53 spots in a regular season. So they got a lot of camp and a lot of preseason to work on that and put the best option out on the field. But I'm excited, man. Like, I haven't been this excited for Steelers football in a long time, man. Like, we all know Tomlin was here for 19 years, and bless his soul, man. He did a great job, never had a losing season, but again, like it was time. It was time for him to move on. It was time.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
And
is what it is.
you know what? Let's talk about schedule releases getting ready to come up. Wednesday
Thursday.
night, yeah, Thursday. I bet this is how this is going to play out. I bet Steelers versus Baltimore or Sunday Night Football. Mike Tomlin makes his debut in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh plays Baltimore at home.
Because he's on. Okay, I was like, wait, what? Do you know something I don't? Well, that's if Mike Tomlin's not the coach of the New England Patriots, because I'm telling you that story's not over yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be this year. Maybe next year. Maybe next.
I don't think he would jump now. You know, being how we're getting into the mini camp portion of the off season, so I don't think Mike Tomlin would even take a challenge like that to install all of his shit, and like that's not just doesn't make any sense. I think that they would probably eat a year of an interim guy, or McDaniel or Daniel, whatever the fuck his name is, Josh.
Yeah, Josh McDaniel. Yeah.
They'd probably just turn it over to him for one season until they get it figured out. But I could see that. Even if it ain't Baltimore, I could definitely see them opening Sunday night with that because of that.
Maybe
it would be pretty interesting.
Maybe open up against Cleveland at home Sunday night.
Yeah, the only thing that we really know about the schedule and everything was speculated on was a lot of people thought that Pittsburgh was going to play Jacksonville in London, but it has since come out that Jacksonville blocked that as a potential London game. And the funny thing about that is the reason that they blocked that from being a London game is because they sell so many tickets to Steeler fans that they know it's going to be a sellout. That's the truth. Like, if there's a stadium that Pittsburgh has taken over like no other than, maybe San Diego back when we played them, or when they were in San Diego, it's Jacksonville. Like the percentage, and it might get a little better now that Jacksonville has starting to look like they might be an actual NFL team. But for so many years when we played in Jacksonville, it would be like 75-25. Not only because of all the snowbirds and everything, but because Jacksonville typically sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know that. And you can pretty much count on the fact that we're going to have bare minimum 4, probably 5 primetime games, for the simple fact that the Steelers are one of the most popular teams in the league, in the world for that matter. And they equal ratings. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been. As long as Pittsburgh's got a solid team, people tune in, they watch. So they want that money. We're going to have, several primetime games.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised either. The Steelers up against Baltimore or Cleveland on Sunday Night Football. Mike Tomlin returns back to Pittsburgh as an analyst. That's my opinion. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think it would.
Yeah, it may not be, like I said, may not be Baltimore. The trend, it seems lately, is we might play 1 or 2 of the division games early, and then they seem to shove the rest of them towards the back end of the year. Maybe because in years past, the whole division has been, kind of competitive. So they want those meaningful games to be later in the season when they are more meaningful, but who knows with what's going on this year. But yeah, it would make perfect sense to put Pittsburgh on Sunday night to open things. For selfish reasons, I kind of don't want to open at home this year, for the simple fact that I've already started to make plans to get to Pittsburgh for week 2 or week 3, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited about the schedule coming out. See who we play. What teams do we play this year? Is there any new teams that we play? I know we play Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland twice. We play the second place teams that finish in their division, right?
No, first we won the division, bro.
Oh yeah, we won the division. So first place team. So
yeah, we are going to play At home, we've got obviously Baltimore, Cincy, and Cleveland, and then home games against Atlanta, Carolina, Denver, Houston, and the Colts, all in Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay.
On the
That's
road,
tough
we've
schedule.
got the division being Baltimore, Cincy, Cleveland, and then we'll play Jacksonville, New England, the Saints, the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh, wow, that's a very tough schedule this year. Tough schedule.
Yeah, but it's not as tough as it was last year. When you go back and look at the teams that we played, like going into last season, the schedule didn't look that tough, but we didn't know at the time that Seattle was going to be a juggernaut. No, I can't remember, but there was games on our schedule last year that turned out to be a lot tougher than we thought they would be. And this year, I think it's going to be a little bit easier. Carolina, yeah, they're better than they were, but they don't scare me. Atlanta doesn't really scare me all that much. Colts,
They're playing Atlanta at home.
yeah, that's a home game.
Okay.
I could see that being potentially early. Carolina probably be later in the season because we always play Carolina in the preseason. You know what I mean? So I think they'll probably schedule Carolina later in the year. Denver could be a potential early game, early opener, just because of the marquee matchup. Houston obviously is going to be a tough game. A little revenge factor there, hopefully.
I think maybe the Patriots game that might be like last 4 weeks of the season in the cold because that's where they normally play at is later on in the season.
Yeah. Well, last year we played them week 3 or 4?
Oh yeah, we did play them early.
We played them early last year. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when Travion Henderson or Stevenson had 4 fumbles. That was the game, right?
Yeah, they had 6 turnovers in that game. But yes, Henderson, or was it Henderson or was it the other one?
Yeah, it was.
No, it was Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson. He had 4 turnovers that game. So yeah.
No. I think it was Stevenson.
Yeah. Stevenson, number 39. That's who had the 4 fumbles.
Yeah, and what the hell's the quarterback? Drake May had a couple as well.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I think they're probably still going to be a train wreck. The Saints, I don't trust their quarterback situation. I think they're going to be improved, but again, don't think they're going to be a juggernaut. Jacksonville, who knows? Jacksonville could win 13 games or they could lose 13 games because it's Jacksonville. Tampa, I think, is going to take a little bit of step back this year.
We played the Bucks, or we played Tampa Bay this year?
In Tampa, yes.
Oh, okay. And then Jacksonville, since they vetoed or they blocked the game in London, are they still playing there?
Jacksonville will have, I think, 2 games in London, but it's not going to be against Pittsburgh, but we'll play in Jacksonville.
Okay. Wow. So they really fucking screwed the Steelers on that because they don't want to be overtaken by the Steelers fan base there.
Well, not really, because at the end of the day, I'm not sure that the Steelers even want the headache of the international travel. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's exposure and everything. But, I mean, you got to imagine that if you're a player to have to go through all that shit and get on a plane for however many hours, you don't want to do that. Like you can go there on vacation in the off season and not have to worry about it. But to be told that, hey, you're going to go play a game, after riding on a plane for 13 hours, like that's not the most desirable trip in the world. So I think that the team itself will be relieved that, hey, we get to go to Jacksonville instead of cold, wet, rainy ass London, England.
Now, Deez, do you think eventually there'll be an NFL team in London?
Probably. Yeah, as dumb as I think it sounds, but I could see it happening. Rodgers has made it no secret that his goal is to have an international game every single week, which again, just the sheer logistical nightmare of that. And, but it equals ratings because most of those overseas games are going to be in Europe when they can kick off at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. American time. And guess what that means? That means that our fat, lazy asses are up with breakfast on the table and NFL football on the TV for a solid like 16 hours, which I'm not opposed to, but.
So I think Tuesday this year is the only day of the week there's no NFL football that's going to be played on. There's games played on Wednesday. There's games going to be played on Thursday. There's a game that's scheduled on a Friday. There's playoff games and whatever on Saturday and then Sunday. So 6 days of the week, they're going to be having NFL games, which is crazy, which is crazy to think, because you're going to go up against college football on Saturdays. Well, that's playoffs, but Friday nights, like, what are they thinking on Friday nights? I don't know.
Well, the Friday for now is just the special occasion ones, like the Black Friday and maybe around Christmas, depending on when Christmas falls. I think eventually he would like a primetime game on Thursdays, Fridays, and then Sunday. Saturday typically works out because the college season is pretty much over, with the exception of bowl game. They don't do the Saturday games typically until January, late December, January, when college season's pretty much over. Although with the new playoff format and everything in college, that could be changing as well. But I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar entity for a reason. Like, people love football. People will watch football regardless of what time or what day it's on. Like, we plan our lives around football, and the NFL's taking advantage of it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure if he puts a game on Friday, or like you said, our fat butts will be sitting in front of the TV watching it. We'll be at our local bar watching it. So, I mean,
yeah, I've skipped family reunions on Sundays for Steeler football. So you can bet your ass that if they're on a Friday, I ain't doing shit on that Friday either, except for watching Steeler football. Like, and the NFL knows that.
Yeah, D. So with you not missing a game and being out there in where you live at in the cornfields of Chicago, how do you get all the football games? Do you stream them through an app, or how do you get them all?
Typically Sunday Ticket, but there have been a couple of years that I've had I still have it. I just don't use it that much, but I've got an NVIDIA Shield, which is basically one of those stream boxes, and used means, let's see, how can I put this? Less than ethical.
I know where you're getting to, D's, and the people out there who are smart know where you're getting to.
Look, all I know is I provided money to a company who in turn provided me a service, and within that service may or may not have, but definitely did contain NFL football packages. So when I turn the TV on and I happen to find it on a particular channel that this service provider was providing, as far as I'm concerned, I'm free and clear of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Let's just say I know a guy who can hook me up with the game. So, and I'm doing it legally. So if you guys are out there doing it illegally, that's your problem. I know I can get mine legally. So
yeah, funny story. A couple of years ago, I don't know that I had joined this show yet or not. I think I was just still doing the D's thing. But I was live streaming during one of the games, which, by the way, I want to do this year, but I have never live streamed a game that we won. So I'm starting to think it's me. But anyway, I was live streaming, and every once in a while, I would turn my camera to the TV, and the NFL fucking shut down my YouTube channel. Like, come on. Like, I'm showing like 1 out of every 7 plays, and just so happened that somebody in the algorithm picked it up, and so
I mean, I don't know. We got about 6 minutes left to go. Let's talk on Rodgers real quick one more time before we end the show. And I know there's a few people in the chat. Thanks for sticking around. Dees, what do you think he ultimately gets? When do you think this contract is ultimately signed?
I think within the next day or two, and I did look it up. I'm still shocked you didn't know you couldn't do that. Yeah. Shut up, Dylan. I knew. Yeah, that's my cousin.
Oh.
I knew you couldn't do it. I just didn't know that somebody would be watching that hard. But anyway, I think it'll get done probably within the next day or two. I don't know necessarily it'll be today, but I think ideally I would like to think that we know something by the end of the day tomorrow. I did look it up, by the way. Yes, players are going to start coming in for their own workouts, but official OTAs start on the 18th.
Okay.
But yeah, I would expect that a lot of players are going to start showing up to the facility and getting acquainted with the rookies and this, that, and the other before they officially like do the official shit on Monday the 18th. So hopefully Aaron is in town and settled for that. I'd like to see him really get the acquainted with Pittman and the young guys and help them learn this new system, because he's obviously going to know quite a bit about it. I don't think Angelico is going to change a whole lot about the Mike McCarthy offense. I think he's just going to be kind of the mouthpiece during practice and installs, because obviously we know that Mike McCarthy is going to be the one calling the plays. So the faster that Aaron gets in there with those guys, and these young guys can see Aaron's ability and leadership and how that offense should be ran, and that's also only going to benefit Drew and Will to that effect as well. So we know he's in town. I would like to think that he's not going to leave town without an answer one way or another. And I think at the end of the day, we're all going to know what we should have known from the fucking get-go, which is, despite what all of these talking heads are saying, that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season.
Yeah. And there's a reason why he's here. He's not here not to not sign a contract and go back to wherever. Where does he live? Does he live in LA? Is that where he lives at?
He no longer, a lot of people make jokes, but he no longer lives on the beach, but he lives in the Malibu area still. He just doesn't live on the beach the way he did now. But yeah, he still lives out in Cali. He's got a place in Pittsburgh. He didn't get rid of it after the season ended last year because he didn't know. So my guess is he's tucked away in that house there with his wife that nobody knows what the hell her name is or what she looks like or whatever, or whether she even really exists. I mean, how low are we as a society that there were people that were actually writing news stories speculating the existence of his wife? Like, get a fucking life. Leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to talk to you. He's not out, womanized. He's not banging married reporters at the NFL meetings. Mike Vrabel, looking at you.
Yeah.
Sure, he doesn't give you a story. So instead, you call him an asshole and you make up shit about him. Like, leave the guy alone. Let him play football or not play football, but he's probably going to play football.
Yeah, he's probably going to play, and it's probably going to be anywhere from 17 to 22 million, if like what D says, with incentives. And I'm okay with paying him that. I am. He's worth it.
Like I said, look what Kirk Cousins is making. You don't think Aaron Rodgers is worth what Kirk Cousins is making? Yes, he absolutely is.
What did he sign for? He signed for a 3-year, $72 million, right? Isn't that what Kirk Cousins signed for?
Essentially, it's a 1-year, $20 million contract. But yeah, they did the whole longevity thing so that they can kick the can down the road and then void the money after the fact. But yeah, and they're penciling him in as the starter, but it's the Raiders, and they're probably going to throw Fernando Mendoza to the Wolves a lot earlier than they should. And Kirk Cousins is going to be, by week 4, a $20 million backup quarterback, probably.
Yeah. All right, guys. So for D's, for myself, we'll see you next week. We'll have a schedule release. Well, this Thursday we'll talk about the schedule and give our takes on that. But have a good week.
Go
ahead.
Unless there's something like drastic, probably won't be on next Sunday, but maybe. I'll let you know before the end of the week.
Okay. All right. There you have it. From these, we'll see everybody next week here. Steel City Renegades, possibly. Have a good week.